Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So I am back again with another Alliance War video. So this is War 1 from Season 18 and we're up against 4 Loki. Now as kind of like a small disclaimer, for this season NY718 isn't going to be really kind of trying to push for the top spots. We're just gonna try and land somewhere in Masters because there is no real desire to kind of really commit to the war with the rewards as they are and with the kind of like general burnout in the alliance, but still we can do our best to make some entertaining videos. So first fight, I am up against this brute force all or nothing Vision Arcus, and realistically Doom absolutely eats this guy alive because I can nullify all of his power gain buffs. He is kind of like largely immune to power burn and power steal and stuff like that, but it doesn't really become an issue because I can still prevent him from getting all the way up to 3 bars of power and steal some of his power. Plus I have a mystic boost active, and as we can see here, the fight was extremely smooth, very simple, not much drama in it, and Doom is an absolutely perfect counter for that Arcus because you nullify his power gain, you gain your own, and you just do your thing, and it doesn't really matter that you're playing up against Vision Arcus because he's immune to armor break, therefore you don't get cold snapped, and it's perfect. And now we're up against Killmonger. Now Killmonger is a bit more annoying because of that reverb, but again he's on all or nothing node. And with Doom, it's relatively easy to manage opponent's power. Now, initially, he has his fisticuffs, so I am not really kind of like bothered by it too much, if we can say, because as soon as I drop my level 1, I can get his power under control. Now, obviously, reverb damage is something that I'm gonna have to take in consideration, but I do not really plan to use Doom in many more fights after this, so I didn't really care about it. I could have played around it kind of like more successfully, but yeah, I just didn't see a particular need to kind of like dance about too much. Here we can see that at this point the fight is again well in the control. I'm dropping my level 3, after which he's gonna get stunned, so I'm gonna be able to steal more of his power. And even though I am taking some damage via Killmonger's awakened ability, I know that I am outpacing the damage I'm taking compared to damage that I'm dealing. Plus special attacks are non-contact, I do not take any damage from those, and that is where kind of like a large chunk of my power comes. Here I build up to another level 3 because why not, get that second fury going, and Doom just kind of does what Doom does. That's one of the reasons what I like so much about Dr. Doom, is the fact that he basically plays the game by himself. It doesn't really matter what is the opponent or what the opponent does. It's kind of like all that matters in the fight is that Doom gets in his rotation, and here finished it off with a nice level 2. Now it wasn't the quickest fight, it wasn't the cleanest fight, but still Doom did just fine. And now next fights are going to be already like in the next day, I think, in section 2. And section 2, I have this stealth suit Spidey, which is kind of annoying with his evade and all that, but he's not a control defender, so he doesn't benefit from flow. So for this fight, I'm just gonna bring in Warlock and have a bit of fun with it. I will realize that I'm probably playing it slightly the wrong way here, but hey, because the more debuffs on him, the more power he gains, so I'm gonna have to try and bait more out of his level 1s out, because level 1 is so much easier to deal with than level 2, but it also reactivates his evade. And here he's getting quite stingy, and I hate when AI gets like that. I spent quite a lot of time trying to bait it out, and now at this point I'm just figured I might as well just go in for an attack and deal with this guy in a regular kind of fashion. Now one of my kind of like favorite things is, because evade isn't that hard to deal with if you know it's coming, and basically every time he has that evade active, he has incredibly high chance to evade. So whenever I go in for an attack, I'm fully expecting Stealth Suit Spider-Man to evade, and that kind of helps to deal with it, but still being kind of like bound to consistently baiting out those level 1s and dealing with that evade is somewhat annoying. But we're doing all right, I think, in terms the fight could have been a bit quicker, but all in all I haven't taken like any hits from him. There has been a lot of dancing about, but we're doing just fine, I'd say. Now that we have that infection active, at least he's getting his power drained if I debuff him, and that is also definitely helping me to kind of like just have more aggressive playstyle here, because I don't have to consistently bait out those level 1s. And here we can see 2 infections, and it's working out just fine at this point, and he's pretty much dead. And yeah, that is this fight. Nothing kind of like overly exciting in this fight happening. Next fight is going to be Hyperion, and he's on a strike back node. So we all know that Hyperions can be a bit iffy, can be a bit dodgy if they refuse to throw their special attacks. But Magic is kind of like a perfect counter for Hyperion, because you just power lock him, his power gain buffs feed your Mystic Dispersion, and basically once you get your first level 2, the fight is more or less under control, unless you mess up, and I believe I will have a slight mishap in this fight. I'm gonna have to wait and see for that one. But yeah, so just playing relatively cautiously, waiting for those power gain buffs to expire, dropping my level 2, how Warlock Synergy, so level 2 hits harder, as you can see, dealt quite considerable amount of damage. And yeah, at this point the fight is well under control, but I think I will make a quite simple and embarrassing slip up, and I will end up dropping my level 2 in opponent's block at some point here, and that will nearly be fatal. Yeah, here we can see that I dropped my level 2 a bit too late. Don't know how it happened, but hey, it did. Luckily, it didn't like really cost me the fight, didn't end up eating level 3, and dropped another special attack, and the fight is over. And now next fight, I'm not going to be taking that Guillotine 2099, but I do how to deal with this Terex guy. He also has Safeguard and Kinetic Transference and Kinetic Investigator and whatever else not. But Magic is kind of like a perfect counter against this guy, again, because he's eventually going to run out of power, kind of like naturally. Yes, you take some damage initially, but once you get him power locked, there's absolutely nothing this guy does, because if he can't activate his Rock Field, then you're good, basically. It is kind of tricky to get to your level 2 because of flow, so you have to kind of like do one hit parry, and yeah, that fix to the flow, I don't know, man. I'm not a fan of that fix to the flow, because it might be somewhat easier for most champions to deal with flow now, but it still imposes like this really annoying playstyle where you just effectively have to parry, do 1-2 hits, see if that triggers flow, and if it did, then you have to land your parry as quickly as you can. And I don't know, I still absolutely hate flow. But at this point where I have him power locked pretty much, there is not much to worry about. Did not quite manage to get to another special 2 in time, so I had to again parry couple hits, but while the power lock is active, obviously I can pretty much ignore that flow node as such, and just do whatever I want with Magic. That's why Magic is such a great champion when it comes to dealing with flow, because that power lock is long, it helps you, and you steal more power from opponent as well. That helps you get back to your special attacks. And yeah, I wouldn't say newfound appreciation for Magic, because I never lost it, but I'm just glad that Magic is kind of coming in forefront of Alliance War picture as one of the kind of like more dominant attackers now, that Flow is absolutely ruling Alliance Wars. And yeah, Magic is like one of the biggest weapons that we have to fight against it. So yeah, Terex goes down. Now next fight, it's gonna be just this Dr. Octopus, and I'm also gonna do a fight which I wasn't supposed to do. It's gonna be that Wolverine X-Force. But at this point the war was lost, so I wasn't like really boosting or paying like too much attention, because at this point it was clear that we had lost the war. Unfortunately, we are starting the war season with a loss for Loki, so hey, congratulations to them. I hear that they are definitely going to be going for like top 3 rewards, so all the best for them. It's not something NY is currently kind of like looking to do. But yeah, so now I'm up against this Dr. Octopus that is obviously a control defender, so I need to be careful of this flow node. Basically, I just need to get to my level 2. After I have gotten to my level 2, even though he has that huge armor rating and whatever else not, the fight is again pretty much under control. So I got to my level 2, I have power lock on Doc Ock, and everything is fine and just in the world. Now I'm noticing that I'm not dealing all that much damage. We can see that over 40 seconds how expired in the fight, and he's still at like 70% health. So that is very scary to realize that you haven't dealt enough damage within the first minute of the fight, pretty much, and it's gonna get kind of close to the time. But once you get the fight under control, once Doc Ock is in corner, if you get some like decent crits from your special 2s, then the fight's still going just fine, like as in your damage output increases by the simple fact that you are able to hit upon it more and be more aggressive, as we can see here. And yeah, now that we have a minute and a half left in the fight, he's at 30%. I'm already much more at ease about this fight. It's long, it's a bit stretched out, but I still have a reasonable amount of time to finish this fight out. It's not overly complex fight. I'm not too worried about messing up badly or anything like that. And yeah, the fight is kind of like closing to the end. I'm going to talk a bit more about that Weapon X fight, because I will end up messing up a couple of times in that fight, and eventually I'm gonna get KO'd. But again, I wasn't like too bothered about it because we had lost the war at that point. I wasn't like boosting, and yeah, realistically I should have waited for a teammate of mine to take that fight with Quake, but it is what it is. The time was kind of like running out. As you can see, there's only like 42 minutes left on the clock, and we were just mainly focused on finishing it off. So I wanted to go and figure out how to fight this guy. And Warlock is actually like a really good counter. It was me who messed up in this fight rather than the fact that it was a bad matchup. It was just I should have played better in kind of like this scenario. He goes in berserk mode once he reaches 25 of those charges. Then he goes unstoppable and unblockable. But unstoppable will expire, but however he still will be permanently unblockable. And the fact that he was unblockable was where I kind of like messed up the first time, and which didn't cost me the most. I kind of simply forgot, and I tried to parry, and as you can see, 2 hits and most of my health is gone. So yeah, clearly Weapon X is kind of like a fairly rare defender and a new one that I definitely need to get a bit more used to. Ideally, the best option with dealing with this guy pretty much will always be Quake, because you don't care if he's unblockable or unstoppable. But Warlock is also a perfectly good option against this guy, and I just wanted to make that clear. Unfortunately, it's my kind of like bad playstyle, a lack of boosts, a lack of tech power boosts, I guess I would say, and kind of like, yeah, sloppy gameplay that led me to kind of like get KO'd. But if you see Wolverine X-Force, this new Wolverine, I even forgot his name, then you know that Warlock is a good option in this fight. But that will be it for today. Once again, congratulations for Loki, and I'll see you guys soon. Later.